Okay, so I forgot today to record my our collaborate session we had this afternoon. So I'll just try to be very, very brief to cover things. And if you want to follow up and understand more, then we will see you online. But you can also probably find some of that information maybe in the modules or somewhere on my YouTube channel. So you can find my YouTube channel and you can actually see what's there. So basically, this is how we work with the curriculum. Curriculum in Australia has a three-dimensional structure. It has cross curriculum priorities, it has capabilities, and then it has also what you call content, or you may call outcomes, right? So so this is it. I have actually worked with the curriculum long enough to actually have developed a few heuristic principles of how to work with the curriculum so that you do not get overwhelmed and by the curriculum. So here they are. The core aspects of the curriculum are the capabilities. You do not teach outcomes of the content of the curriculum. In Australia, you teach capabilities. You make sure that your learning generates transformative impacts, which is the personal and social capabilities, right? So that students learn so that students are aware or feel that as they go through their learning with you, they acquire a greater sense of self-efficacy, confidence. They see their capacities grow, so they actually witness their own personal transformation, and at the same time they also see that they actually have an impact on other people. So the community might be changing as a result of their engagement in the community, because you cannot grow your own capacity in isolation from others. You grow your capacity as you interact with others. So as a result, you grow and the society grows. Here's your personal and social capabilities. Ethical and intercultural. Once you design your learning, once you identify your learning objectives for your students, right? So I spoke today in a collaborate session the way you do that. You engage with your culture officer, with your principal, you find out who is in the community, who needs you, who needs your students. There are people out there who need actually things to be done. For example, the tourism office might need actually some website that could be produced by your students about your region and in the language that is other than English. That would be lovely to produce something like that. It'd be lovely to produce a website, series of brochures, anything that actually makes a difference to the children's office, and your children can actually do some. As children actually do these things, they get creative, they get excited, they feel that they are learning something, while at the same time they can see that they actually have a real impact on the community, right? So once you actually identify a context where you would want to actually see your students engage, let's say for example tourism office, what you want to do is to identify now the kinds of resources you need and the kind of or materials that you need to show to students so that they actually can do that. And so those resources, you need, when you do that, you need to choose resources that actually reflect the demographics of the community in an inclusive way. Because if you only show people that Indonesia is just a flat country, everybody is the same, they look the same, they wear the same clothes, they're all the same, then you actually will generate in your students an understanding of Indonesia that is flat, single dimensional, all of that. The same if you wanted to create a brochure about Australia, say about Townsville, and you give them resources to your children, resources about materials that reflect the spirit of, say, Townsville, and they all only about people who speak English and they look the same and wear the same clothes. Again, what you do, to the children themselves, you reflect single dimensional community, but at the same time to the people from Indonesia who will be actually learning through that from your students about Townsville, they'll be learning that Townsville looks like this, and they will come here, and the first thing they will do, they will go to the coffee shop that is owned by a Greek person, right? And they'll go like, where's that Greek person coming from? And the next person will be a shop that is run by some Chinese fellows, and they will say, well, where's that coming from, right? So, okay. At the same time as you need to produce resource, give students access to materials about the country and its people that reflect the demographics of a community. What you also want is to give students access to variety of materials that actually enable students to learn how to do things by comparing and contrasting different texts and different structures and different words, so that meaning is constructed in relation to other meanings, not in and of itself. Nobody knows what's mom until they actually met the father. Nobody knows what's mother and father until they met auntie and a stranger and a dog and a forest. So now you know that you build your worldview, and that consists of categories, by meeting many categories, right? So you do it relationally. So once you know that your learning has to be transformative, and you have to have materials that reflect the demographics and that actually expose students to a variety of genres, brochures, videos, websites, flyers, novels, newspapers, all of that. Once you know that, you also want to introduce children you want them to learn those capabilities through cross-curriculum priority activities, right? So there would be activities that that take account of Asia Australia relationships, that have that include the indigenous component, and also that have a sustainability connection. Sustainability means maybe taking care of the land, or it could be also taking care of the people, like, for example, doing things for people, developing communities, creating a resource for a tourism office, so that we can build closer links with Indonesia or some other target countries, so that people come here better informed what to expect. They kind of have more confidence, and everything is not so startling. Now, these are the things that I use for teaching literacy in English, but they're not so different for in terms of LOTE. So what you might kinds of, so documents we could put here, okay, documents, different types of documents. So basically what you want now, what you call content, curriculum content, or outcomes, they are your guidelines in relation to which you structure your activities, your teaching activities, in order to meet capabilities objectives, right? So so we might talk about it later on, and I'll show you some things in practice, but that's what I wanted to say. So these are basically your reference guidelines. So you will want people to probably develop literacy skills, like ability to interact with others, interpret, analyze, create text, right? So that they can, and they don't create text, they create text in such a way so that they can contribute to community and therefore see self-transformation as a result. You want them to create text so that in ways that reflect the demographics of a community justly, and you want them to create text on the basis of documents that allow students to make critical and creative choices, right? So they construct their worldview in LOTE, so the meaning making relationships, by comparing and contrasting a range of texts, similar or different, so that those associations or the meanings that they create, they are deep. So now you got the idea. That's pretty much the curriculum. What I wanted to show you today were so basically what you can do in order to teach the curriculum, you can design a project-based a project. You can design a series of lessons for assignment 1, but basically engage students in a project activity that actually is structured in relation to the way of working with the curriculum as I just described, right? So you might start with the tourism person. I'll give you some material so you will see it on the announcements. So a person from the tourism office might come and just show their problems and discuss their achievements and maybe inspire students to actually creating something for Indonesian visitors or whatever. Now, if you are an Indonesian teacher, you can create a multilingual resource. Simply, your students will do everything in Indonesian, but then you can have a help file, which is some bits of the text. You may summarize the text that students produce for the tourism office, and then they can shove it through Google Translator, and Google Translator will give it in Polish, in Chinese, in Vietnamese, and all of that. Put it there. It's very funny and it's interesting, right? And then, you can actually record the speaker actually reading those translations and add to your website or to whatever an audio file reading those Chinese and Vietnamese and whatever texts. So now you have a multilingual website. It's okay. I know that Google Translate doesn't translate well, but it's just part of your students' learning. All right. So your students can actually you can, for your assignment, design a project-based learning project that engages students in all of that, following the principles I have described to you. Now, when you do that, I need to see all the resources you will be using, everything. I need every detail. So that's that. Another thing you could do is actually to create. You can, instead of doing that, you can actually create your own game. So you had Sam's games, right? So that's on the announcement. Another game I want to introduce to you that I spoke today about, but before I do that, I just wanted you to see something really cute. It is on your modules, but I will discuss it again because it seems to be never enough. So this is a student of mine who produced this PowerPoint just to show you how easily you can use PowerPoint to sensitize your LOTE students to different structures between, say, different genres, a brochure and a newspaper, or in English, or maybe a brochure in English and a brochure in Indonesian. What are the differences? Maybe different colors, different way of formatting the text, But look at this, how nicely she did that. So she's got that story about how she teaches, as you should too. So you can see she's got these principles of compare, contrast, right? So we need a range of text. Look at this. She will be here showing to children how to tell the difference between a scientific article and a newspaper. So this is a scientific report. Scientific report has a title, right? This is so simple, such a simple animation with PowerPoint. Has a subtitle, has headings, has short paragraphs, has a table, right? A newspaper has a title, just like the scientific report, but it doesn't have headings, it doesn't have short paragraphs, it has long paragraphs instead, it doesn't have a table, it has a photograph instead, and it has a caption. Now, if you don't think it's cute, I don't know what is. So another thing and that's the other thing I wanted to show you now. This is just to make sure that this collaborate session here lasts for very little time. Now this game here, if you click here, no longer exists, but it used to exist. So you've got this video somewhere on your in your modules. But basically what I did here, say for example, if you wanted to introduce the community of Darwin to people in Indonesia, wouldn't it be nice to first, for your students, to learn about a particular community in Indonesia? So they learn about Indonesia, they learn about people, they learn what they watch on television, they learn all kinds of things. And that kind of game could take students easily 10 weeks to complete. Yeah, it's that long. And what happens as a result, so basically what I did here, the drawings are from my students. So you can get them from Google, you can use the same drawings they find. The student didn't mind. So provided that you actually write from whom you got those drawings, right? So you write Natasha Hardy. Okay. And you say that's EIP 2220 CDU student. All right. So, but you can use drawing. These are drawings, obviously, or European drawings or Western sort of Anglo-Saxon drawings, but you can take from Google or from somewhere drawings of a community in Indonesia or whatever other LOTE target country. All right. So the principle here was as follows in my design. There's 5,000 different games for ESL, for teaching English as second language on the net. There are many, and if a student does all those games, everything is incoherent, makes no sense. But if you now take those games and insert them into okay, so what I did, here's the community, meet our village, right? So if children clicked on this game, in the past, it would have taken them to a game. This game no longer exists. Or maybe it does it? No, it doesn't. Surely something horrible is gonna happen to my computer.
Click the button to download and get started.
No way. Anyway, there used to be a game there. And you will see the game. I've got the game somewhere. You will see that game. You can see this game. Anyway, if you run the video with that village on your, I've got so many things open, friends. That okay. So where is the game? This is the video that you have in your module. You will see, but there's a lot of introduction here. I don't know what I did here, but the discussion about the game starts sort of towards the end. Here it starts on 57 minute 57, and the game. This is what the game used to look like, right? So you had to guess. So this person said, "In Victoria, where's Victoria?" And you had to guess where Victoria is. And if I got it wrong, then the game went on. And the idea was, remember, to find New South Wales. So the students are sitting during the game and trying to find New South Wales. South Australia first, where is it? Here, so you, and so on. So it just goes on forever. So until you finish the game. So that was a cute game. You may find something like that. This one that no longer exists. All right, so what I did, I have created, the student has given me so many pictures. You can see this is a garden and houses. This is someone's house. This is a shopping center. These are the fathers, you know, one is a cook, one is an engineer, one is a pilot, I don't know. These are children of the village, and this is a construction site, right? So you can see those arrows everywhere. What I did, I put links to games. Can you see the links highlighted? No, you can't, but you can see here, right? There's a link here. So, so basically what I did, each of those arrows has a link underneath, right? So I inserted an arrow somewhere and inserted a hyperlink. And today I was trying to insert a hyperlink and funny things happen, so I don't know, but you can see it in your own PowerPoint, I don't know. So I inserted the PowerPoint under the hyperlink underneath, and it takes students to a game. So it's good. So for example, what's this?
Did you click on play?
Did you click on play? Well, I don't know where you clicked on play, but now it took us somewhere far away. So let's be here. Let's say if we click on the garden, it takes us to a game. Well, there you go, another game not working, right? All the games of mine are not working. But if you watch the video from some module, you will see that there was a game. There was a game. Where did I lose it? I lost it. Remember we had a video? And now I don't have a video. Alright, we had the game. So after the game with geography, we had a game in the garden. Where's the garden game? Here's the garden game. Okay, so I just reduced the sound here because I don't want to hear it, because I spoke over there. I'll play it, but you will hear everybody.
Doesn't matter. One is short, one is long.
Color size.
Well, color size, but also corn.
Pick a seed.
Corn is one syllable.
Yeah, pick a seed, you know, and then it would, if you pick this one on the right, it would read to you tomato, tomato. So plant the seed, water the seed, add some potash, and all of that, right? So it's a very good game, teaches people how to plant things. So that, you see everything, I've got everything open here. So, okay, so this is a cute game. This one is different. Let's edit the link. Edit link. I'll show you that game. This is different. This one doesn't actually have vocabulary. It has it's a game in construction, right? So it's a hospital and children build things. So you can install, so there are no English or whatever words in this particular game. So children can actually shift furniture, and you can teach children now yourself as a teacher what this furniture is called. Yeah, advertisement and everything, right? So anyway, you can check it yourself. So basically, you can with children go through each of the. You cannot see the game. The game will not load because I'm recording, and my recording program is not compatible with the games at the same time. So that's why. But you know, if you click on any of those things and then right click, go to edit link. This one goes actually to, but this one went to the game, right? So edit link, it will give you the link so you can actually check those games. And where it took me, you saw that on the left there were 5,000 other games, so there's plenty of those games, and some of them don't have actually any language, so you can use them to actually generate speaking activities. When you generate speaking activities about anything, you could use this system that we have in that game, Sam's Games. Remember what happened? You know, did you play well? Did you click on start? What did you say? Were there any eggs? Right? So that was about what did you do with the eggs? You know, so you can actually create dialogues like this, enabling students to actually record themselves. So here, a student has this little icon, and they can actually record themselves. This is help file, right? So this one you can actually insert a link to another, like in Sam's Games, to a help file so that children can actually respond to the question correctly. So by the time a child goes through all these different games, like for example here, where was it? This one, it's a game about my house. So there are furniture. Then when you actually go to mom, so mom is cooking, or mom is, or someone else in the house is watching television. So when someone else is watching television, they are watching. Let's have a look over this. This will not work because these things no longer work on, like the PowerPoint changes in its permissions. You see, in the past you could see actually a movie, and now it doesn't allow. You see, I actually put this drawing here, you couldn't see it, and then this was integrated in that picture. So when you clicked inside, you could actually see the movie as if it was being played inside of a television screen. But Microsoft is stupid and no longer allows for, you see, no longer allows for games, for integrating of a video inside of a PowerPoint, which is really ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. In that sense that you actually put link, like with a website, you put link and you can through a website see a video. That was so simple. They don't do it anymore. But anyway, you can actually have a, don't worry about it, you can insert a picture of the lion here. Surely I have a picture of the lion, so insert picture. So let's see whether I have, what's this? That's a map. I wonder of what is that map. So insert. Wow, the things I collect sometimes. No idea from whom I stole that, because it's not mine. And it could be a story about Vietnam or something. It looks like Vietnam, doesn't it? So insert picture. Is the lion somewhere that I have? So picture is the lion. Lioness. Look at that. I have a lioness. Isn't it amazing? So there you go. And then when children click on it, so as they play the video, they can click on it, and you can take them to the story about YouTube. Be good to get to YouTube. The Lion and the Mouse. The Lion and the Mouse. Aesop Fable. There you go.
One day, a mighty lion, tired from hunting all morning.
It's for English, right? But you can actually create such a... So basically it goes... So the logic is like this. So when children are... When there is this picture about what we do in the house, right? We do in the house. They click on the window or on the person what mommy is doing. And mommy might be cooking, but somewhere here might be daddy. They click on daddy or on children. Maybe there are children inside of the house, what children are doing. Then it takes them to a slide with television set in this. And you can insert text. Click to watch, right? Let's make it, oh my goodness, never, click to watch, right? You would want to read it, but in a color that actually it's readable. Never gonna get the right color. Alright, click to watch. Children can click on it because you put here, you insert a hyperlink. Okay, so insert, and you insert hyperlink here of sorts. I don't know what it's telling me, but you insert a hyperlink. So when they click, it takes them to YouTube, and they can watch what a story in Indonesian or something for children. And so you can actually watch what the children in the house were watching. And I'm just trying to go back to the picture with the children in the house. So you can see what the children at my house, there were children here, and see what they were watching. Let's see what I put here. So at my house, what happens? Yeah, click to watch, and it would have taken them to the Lion and the Mouse, right? If you had the link inserted. So there you go. So the idea is so that you put all these millions of games. So each arrow should be leading to some game. Let's have a look. Where is the game? Okay, so there is a game here. You have to, again, I can't actually show you the game. I'll show you the advertisement because it's incompatible with my recording system. So click on all of them and have a look, and it gives you ideas. And again, just to remind you, when you want children to practice, after they've seen a game, you can produce dialogues. What did you see? What happened? Blah, 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 blah. You put words into their mouths, and they actually learn how to talk about the experiences that they had as they were actually going through the game, right? So they actually learn how to talk about the games they have done. So that will make it easier for them than later on when they actually want to produce a community story, a community game like this for Indonesian people to introduce to them townsfolk, or to German people to introduce to them Darwin or whatever, right? So whatever your LOTE is, when they will be trying to recreate something like this, they already have a lot of language under their command, in their control, and it will be easier for them, right? So there you go. So that's all I wanted to do today. So in a nutshell, that's all for today. See you next week.